Hi, this is Teacher Manasseh. Welcome back to this learning time where we are going to have a lesson with me, and our lesson of today is mathematics. We are going to talk about the square and the square root of the number. Before we move on, let's recall what we saw last time. Last time we were prime factorizing the number. Write a number as a product of its prime factors, where we said we use the prime numbers. Let's have an example to review. Factorize or prime factorize (49). We said we write it in this way and we factorize it. Our 49 divided by 2, 2 cannot divide it, 3 cannot divide it, 5 cannot divide it, but 7 can. By 7, it's 7, by 7, it's 1. Now, our 49 equals 7 times 7. We said when it repeats, no need of writing like this. We simply say 49 equals 7. 7 comes 2 times. That is 7 squared or 7 power 2. Example number 2. Let's have 25. We prime factorize it. 25, 2 cannot, 3 cannot, but 5 can. By 5 is 5, by 5 is 1. Now our 25 equals 5 times 5. Our 25 equals 5 power 2, or 5 squared. My dear friends, as you can see, they are numbers that are multiplied themselves. This is to mean I have 7 times 7. There are 2 ways of writing this one, or there are 2 possible answers. Here we know normally is 49, but I also said is 7 power 2 or 7 squared. I will have our 5 times 5, which gives 25, or 5 squared, or 5 power 2. My dear friends, as I'm saying, this 7 was multiplied itself to get 49. 5 was multiplied itself to get 25. We say instead of writing this, we can say 7 squared, 5 squared. Now, in what we are saying, you can have a sound of square. 7 squared, 5 squared. This is to mean 7 times itself once, 7 by itself. Now, when a number is multiplied by itself once, the answer we get is known as a square of that number. I repeat. When a number is multiplied with itself once, the result or the product is known as a square of the number. A square of a number is the product of that number by or with itself. From what we have above, if I say 7 times 7, I get 49. This is to mean that 49 as the product of 7 is the square of 7. 49 is a square of 7. Having our 5 times 5, which gives 25, my 25 is a square of 5. Taking example number 1, I say find the square of 11. Now this is to mean that the square of 11 will be 11 times 11. The product with itself. 11 itself. From our multiplication, we know that 11 times 11 is 121. This is to mean that a 121 is a square of 11. Having example number 2, let me have 25. I need its square. The square of 25 will be 25 times 25. Then we have 625. This 625 is a square of 25. Now, if we say a square of a number, it simply means a product of that number by itself. Any integer multiplied once with itself, the result or the product or the answer we get is known as the square of that number. Dear friends of mine, as you have seen, we can express this one in a simple way, where we say that the square of either 12 simply means 12 times 12. Normally, to get the full answer is 144. But it can again be written in the power form or in the form of indices, that is 12 power 2. Because it is 12 that was multiplied 2 times. Now, what will this help us? It will help us to get the square of the numbers which are not having the exact squares. Let's say when you have used the symbols. Let's take an example for, I say, I need to find the square of M. Oh, my friends, the square of letter M. In all ways, or by all means, the formula is the same, is M multiplied by M. That's to mean M times M. But here, M times M gives which number or which letter? This is not known. So, to write this square, I write it in a power form. That is to mean that I have m, but it becomes how many times? 2 times m squared. Having example number 5, to find the square of y. I will have my y times 1, but as it's a symbol and I don't know what y stands for, I'll write it in a power form and I have y power 2. My dear friends, as you can see, we can get a square of any number and any symbol given, so long as you multiply that number by itself or with itself. If it's a symbol, what we only do is to write it in a power form. Now, these are the squares, but they have their square root. That number that was multiplied itself to get a product is known as a square root. This is to mean if 5 times 5 equals 25. We say 25 is a square of 5. Now what is 5? That was multiplied itself to get 25. This 5, I consider it once because no difference between 5 and 5, they are the same. Though I can take this one, they are all 5s. Now it's known as the square root of 25. If I have my m times m, which gives m squared, this is the square, is a square of m. This is to mean that our m is a square root of m squared. Can you see this? Now, my dear friends, we normally have the numbers that we should be knowing their squares mentally and their square root. Let's say if I want the square root of 25, as we saw, I know it's 5. The square root of 49, I know is 7. The square root of 100, I know that is 10. Without calculating. The same as squares, if we are asked, find the square of 1. I know that is 1 times 1, which is 1, without calculating. If it's the square of 10, I know that is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. If it's that, I know it's 900. So, I need you to always have these simple squares and square roots in your minds without calculating, so as to facilitate your working. I know it's very simple. Let me leave you like 5 numbers to try for your own, but mentally. Let's find as 1 the square of the following numbers. A, let me give you 17, B, 13, C, 14. Then 2, find the square root of A, the square root of 100, B, the square root of 169. C, the square root of 144. I think from your multiplication tables, you have already this one. You know which number you can multiply itself to get 100. The number multiply itself to get 169. Multiply itself to get 144. The same, you can multiply these by themselves and you get their squares. I thank you very much for your active participation. Let's meet next time. Bye-bye.